Actually, my first book was actually Mason Dixon. It was
Got it.
Behind Me Lines was my last book. Mason Dixon was my first book that I actually I wrote, and I wrote that book actually when I got turned down for one of the many promotions.
Mm,
So I spent time like in the cube, just writing. That one thing about them, I was actually a number. I was a black face, so I wasn't bothered that much as long as I was there to be seen.
mm-hmm.
So I picked it back up and just started writing. And of
Interesting.
course, they would come by. I would have some of my lectures by the minister on, and wanted to write something like that, and they just thought I was either trying to listen to gospel preaching, or I was trying to, like you said, write some rap rhymes
Mm.
to pass time away.
Interesting. Interesting. Wait, so you're saying the book Mason Dixie, A View from an Office Cube, you were writing it in your office cube?
I actually wrote that book in an office cube.
That's interesting. Talking about being creative.
Yep, I sure did.
Okay, okay. Now, so talk to me a little bit about what prompted you to write that book?
Actually, just looking back over when I left North Carolina, I left my mother and a sister there, and I came here to Atlanta, just trying to leave the rural South. So I went for the South, of course, but Atlanta's like the jewel of the South, you can say.
Mm-hmm.
So I came to Atlanta, and based on the stories I would tell, a lot of friends of mine that I met here, they would always tell me to put it on paper,
Hmm.
right? So I'd left off at times, but then again, when I came into a corporate after graduating college, not getting picked up for certain promotions, I just started to go back to writing journals. So I stuck with it.
Hmm. Okay.
And the
So,
stories that I would give them, it would put certain people in awe. And when I came to the South, actually in Atlanta, it was more of a melting pot for me, because what I would do is I would actually take the MARTA train to Five Points to Atlanta. I'm not sure if you've been to Atlanta or not, but I
no,
would go to Five Points, right?
mm-hmm.
And I would intentionally sit and just talk to people who didn't look like me
Mm.
and get insights, on different cultures or whatever. So I spent a lot of my time downtown, either with the Koreans or the Africans or whatever, just to get a sense of what I was, just to see what I was missing outside of my old environment.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. And in doing that, did that give you a lot of perspective on how other cultures live, or how they
Oh man,
what they think about us even?
I look back and I look back and sometimes I laugh at where I came from, my mindset then and now.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from a hardcore Christian environment to where I was raised to now, I don't really deal with religion at all. I do God, I don't really do religion. But it had just meeting people of different cultures and just mindsets all over the place. It really had an impact. It had an impact on me.
Interesting, interesting. And I take my hat off to you, man. That's extremely inspiring, because every day when I was in corporate America, I would meet someone who didn't want to be there, who pretty much would say, man, they treated it like it was a jail sentence. But few people had a outlet, had something else that they was passionate about that would drive them from the job. Because I recall being that way myself a little bit. Like, man, I'm tired of this. This isn't something I'm passionate about. It's just money. And you get into the little situations with coworkers where you're kind of talking about the job and what you don't like about it. But I think ultimately we all should be looking to do something different then, and not necessarily about money per se, but just following your spirit and living your truth to the fullest. And sometimes people can't break away from corporate America. They don't know how to channel that energy. So I applaud you for that, bro. Now
I tell you, brother, I published that book. I'm a widower. My wife died in 2014, right? And when she passed away, I had two kids with me. I have two children right now that I'm raising. And for them to see me going to work and coming back home, I'm like, you know what? I'm trying to make sure that my kids knew that this isn't life. Even though, you know, you're eating well, you're paying bills, but I'm still not doing what I really want to do. Even though I'm preaching to them one thing and doing another, you know, I felt like a hypocrite.
Interesting. So you, because that, you know, it's important you say it that way because our kids are forever watching.
Of course.
Like they're watching everything we do. And I remember when I appeared to be happy in corporate America, my kids were asking questions about, you know, do you think that's a job I can work at? They were asking questions about being a worker. Well, I started talking business ownership and moving in that direction. They began to ask questions about business ownership. So I said, man, this is my everyday movement is much more impactful than I thought it was, you know?
Yeah. And even now, even with my spare time, you know, I'm trying to put a third book out, and I see them. I almost actually had to catch myself, brother, with me coming home on Friday. You know, Friday's like, for some people, that's party day. That's time to relax, you know, and unwind. And I would see them catching me, maybe going to a happy hour and getting up late on Saturday mornings. And I'm like, is this what I'm teaching them, that you'll only live for weekends? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I had to really watch it, because that's what they think. That's at that time. I had to rear them in and tell them, you know, Daddy made some mistakes here or there. You know, as far as with you seeing me, just, of course you got to relax sometime, but with them just thinking that the only time for you to really live is when you're off the clock, you know, of the dominant race. But I'm not saying, well, dominant culture.
Yep. I definitely understand that, because, you know, even, you know, some books that I've read have mentioned the fact that, you know, of course, working the 40-hour work week is an American thing, and a lot of us have to deal with that. But throughout slavery, you know, back in the day, we kind of had to deal with that same thing where our work week was so strenuous, like picking cotton and working for next to nothing. The weekends were like a celebration. We couldn't wait to get to the weekend just so we can have a drink, just so we can go amongst other Black folks and kind of celebrate and let your hair down, because even then, the work environment, as most corporations is now, isn't really set up to benefit us. It isn't really set up for us to be ourselves. I know so many people who go to work and they have to damn near put on an act at work because of the looks that you get, and, you know, how people speak about you, and all the perceptions that people have about Black folks. You know what I'm saying? So that can be stressful. That can actually weigh on your health also.
Of course. Well, yeah. I'm glad you said that. Even when I go back and look over some of the writings I've read, even Frederick Douglass, you know, he spoke about that as well. That, you know, that is actually it's like the behavior of a slave.